Hey, what's that noise down there?
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
That's definitely not his real name.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice? I can tell that you finally got him down. Thank you. It was quite a disturbing sight, even by Martinez standards.
What were you doing last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
No, not you. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
He's an actor declaiming a soliloquy. See how you hang on his every word?
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the dull and darkening sky, the neighboring windows stand silent.
No. We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going. Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case. There has to be a way of getting inside the building. Let's go check out the door near the pier again. Once we found a way in, we can ask around for his apartment.
body betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
You have succumbed to Al Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. Your mouth moves, but the one who speaks is Al Ghul. You are but a vessel for the Ghoul now. Very little of yourself remains. Occidental Haplogroup B4 is done giving orders around here. The influence of the ham sandwich race is waning.
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
The ethanol fungus is deep within your nervous system, pulling the strings. You are merely its pupa now. I see no hope for you or your kind. Begging for help, attempting to pass fear for cooperation. How far the Occidental Haplogroup has fallen. You were once a noble and powerful race. You gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war like missiles and aerostatic aircraft. You made great gains in metallurgy, race theory, and statecraft. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Khoikos. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with sadness and with frivolous pop culture. You will be superseded. Isn't that right, babe?
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
There is a button right behind him, just out of reach. It must be the one that opens the door to the harbor.
Enough with this begging. You should leave the stage of history with dignity by inviting the other races to a great world war. Bring your troops to the Simonine Islands and to Boogie Street and we will pulverize you. When you are gone, we will build a museum for you. The walls will be lined with bottles of Al Ghul, your beloved beverage. Inside, we will store the odes to homosexuality you call art, and your microcephalic skulls.
There may be a peaceful solution to this. You could internalize Meshached's race theory. He would take you as one of his own. Well, not as such. What you do with the mastery of advanced race theory is up to you. You could reject the findings, sure, or accept them and become an advanced racist.
Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront international capital, which is something your race naivistic communists never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. It is lax and moronic. Of course you are, Revacholian man. The failure of communism to challenge the world order is the core of your race fate. All around you, the fruits of its defeat. Individualism, rock and roll music, sexually transmitted disease. Above all, rampant multinational finance still reigning large. Tell me, where have you gotten your love of pathetic communism from? Degenerate youth culture? Rock and roll music? Of course it does. You are a degenerate individualist and a rock and roll rebel. A pawn of international finance, just like the rest of your ham-colored race. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Seminoles race. The South Island race, haplogroup A4A. We are the rightful masters of the Insulindian archipelago. We descend from the Areopagites of ancient Pericarnassus and arrived here 4,000 years ago. Millennia before you. We are the future. That is all you need to know. I am a descendant. The narrow streets of Ulembuir are with me in my genetic dreams. I see young Seminoles women walk into the grey mass on Ile de Fantôme, waiting on immaculate conception from the Pay. No, I have heard about it on the radio. I'm from Couronne, and no, it is not just in Revachol. The city is central to the Simony strategy. Spreading through its trade networks, our culture will dominate the world. You have heard enough about our phylogenetic secrets for today. You have extinction to come to terms with, and never getting into the harbor. Racists are generally not very good examples of their race.
Welcome to Revachol. You hear him yell at a redhead woman visiting the fritter nearby. He must think redheads are immigrants.
I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features. This should dispel any doubt.
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminalism. Also, his earlobes could be small.
The size of the earlobes is not a real craniometric criteria. Everyone knows this.
Your earlobes are flawless, Jean-Luc.
Yes.
That atavistic stigmata makes pussy say yes, plenty.
Babe, thanks. But I got this.
He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your pathetic cup. I have no interest in it.
He had nothing to do with it.
I think this racist is better than the last, but the next racist will be the really good one.
That will be the...
There always is.
Race is reality.
Ask what kind of races there are first. Classification is core to this stuff.
Do you?
The lieutenant looks toward the harbor's electronic door, and then, to you, he lets out an audible sigh.
You are obviously a liberal, Sayolite. A polyculturalist. I can see it from your love of microtechnology and your sartorial choices. Do not deny your friend the truth you have denied yourself. There are 3 categories of race. Type A, the heroic races. Type B, the servile races. And the vile CF race cauldron of pederasty. Which one do you need education on? Type B are the unheroic races, amorphous non-competitors of the great race. The Koikos and the Vacholiers, they are mud-colored people.
The Koikos of Grad, Yugo, Zhimsk, Shest et al. Are what you would call white, officer, in a suspect description.
Yes, to an untrained eye, the Koiko appear white and pinkish, like a ham sandwich. But look into their eyes and you will see. They are of an indistinct color, and so is their skin. Unhealthy, muddy, and ashen. Pinkness is a racial quality that has to be earned through centuries of advanced ballistic warfare and cultural domination that the Grad people have undergone for drinking Al Rul and smoking the degenerate tobacco herb, and for eating potato. The Koiko, the countless micronationalities of Grad, are all inexplicably obsessed with potard. The only thing they like more is dividing into microscopic ethnostates, like political amoeba.
Wouldn't he be one for ethnostates?
The Revacholians, halfway between Type A and the racial cauldron. Too mixed to know right from wrong. You tried your degenerate little revolution, which was the single greatest failure committed by humans in our 82,000-year history on this planet.
Is it 82,000 years that we've been recording history? You have very little idea of what is happening, but that seems a little off.
The revolution came to Revachol from Grad, in Zarath-ridden potato carts. It is literally an illness, a prion disease that leaves the parietal and frontal lobe ridden with holes. A soft, sponge-like mass of dementia, hallucination, and paranoia. The revolution is fatal familial insomnia. A hereditary prion condition passed from the Koiko to the Occidentals. But not sexually. Probably through trade roots and potate acid, the prime component of the potato plant. Enough of Tibet mediocrity. Those are the Simonees, the Areopagite, and the Occidentals. excluding the Maun, of course. The Maun are riddled with eczema to the point where they find it impossible to smile. They are all lactose intolerant, a common result of inbreeding. A receding genetic pool has led the Maun on reprehensible street parades in Maun cities like Stadskanal and Vredefort, wearing wooden clogs on their feet and little green tassels on their hats. You know them by the names of their nation-states: the Oranese, the Gotwaldians, and the Königsteiners. My people simply call them Mao.
Mahun is a derogative term for First World people of Gotwaldian descent. They do not all have eczema. Also, people of Katla, like the Suru and the Uhu, are much more lactose intolerant. In some municipalities of Oranje, people do wear shoes made of wood to street parades. Green, orange, and even yellow tassels have also been seen on hats.
The Maun are proof that you can have too much Occidental racial purity and tassel-centric culture. Inbreeding has led to a lactose-intolerant subrace whom no one can take seriously.
Colorful tassels are, let's be honest, not a good sartorial choice for this century. You might want to avoid wooden clogs too.
The Vespertines and Messenians of Vesper and Messina, the ancient Meteorans of Meteo by the golden Pisantic Sea, the Suren of Sur-la-Clé, and even the North Königsteiners, all have type A race propensities. The other large mondial civilization, the Mesk, are too yellow and oleaginous to count as a heroic race. True, they are violent and expansionist, but they have a glandular problem. Overproduction of sebum. Sebum is leaking into their brains, making them listen to El Mariachi music and eat toxic minced meat-based food, which in turn only produces more sebum. As proven by the Maun and the Mesk, Occidental type A is in retrograde. The Semenese and the Areopagites are on the ascent. The Areopagites are sleek, long-headed. The Semenese are powerful, mesomorphic. The former is an immutable progenitor, unchanged since the Super Isola of Pericarnassus. Ancient brains rest in their slender skulls. The latter is perfected and adapting. Together they form the Semeno-Areopagite or Simeopagite superrace. That is all. There are no more type A races in the world. Types CF are a museum of failed chimeric experiments and tragic maladaptations. They are tortured creatures waiting to be put to sleep. Your morbid interest in them worries me. Lesser races like the Mosquito, a grotesque mixture of a Mesk woman and a Semenese man. Only possible if the mother is Mesk and the father Semenese. The other way around, they fail to produce offspring. The Mosquito is born sterile, like a donkey. All they have left is to ride customized motor carriages with hydraulic suspension, listening to aggressive El Mariachi music to vent their impotent despair.
It seems unlikely that two human beings produce genetically sterile offspring.
You are right. You have misunderstood. You lack basic phylogenetic education. Then there is the Semino Koiki Chimera, Are you sure you wish to know of the semen of Koiki Chimera? It is not an aesthetic site. The Koiko, as you know, are very servile, especially when they meet the rich man. Racial scientists have toyed with the idea of crossing the Semenes with the Koiko to produce a super worker of Semene strength and grad servility. This will never happen. The Semenes and the Koiko may have similar interbreeding problems as the mosquito. We will never know precisely. No Semenese man could maintain an erection in the suffocating potato stench of a Koiko woman or Koika. But enough. It is cruel to entertain ourselves with the deformities of Type F. Were there any able-bodied races you needed education on? You understand nothing. To solve the great race enigma, you have to first ask yourself, what is the race enigma? You have not even worded the mystery, let alone solved it. We will see.
Access to the Union is important for our investigation, but there may be another way without becoming a race theoretician.
Am I mildly worried he might take it seriously? The lieutenant thinks. Yes, I am, he concludes. I am worried.
Lost, though. Buckled away at the last gate. This is why your haplogroup will never rise from the ashes. Now, I need to luxuriate in the private company of my babe. Leave me. I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Revacholian. Your love for disco music and venereal disease?
We still need to get into the harbor. There's an interview to conduct. There must be another way.
Try the jump. Up there on the roof. It'll be worth it. Else there is little choice but to figure out a way to deal with the man. Stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crowned with wavy rays. It is the seal of Royalist era Revachol. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large, muscular man. The title reads, Man from Eamdal in the Lost City of the Pygmies.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
There he is, in front of Rita, smoking nervously, hoping it's over.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. And here I was trying to be polite. Just can't win with you pigs.
A brush, an artist. The red splatter is urban expressionism. The lieutenant is desperately searching for a handkerchief. Hatred, disgust, it's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her. On a first name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world. Have you got a crush on her? Aching for an opportunity to defend her honor. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so... This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
She means the opposite.
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. Watch your back, ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance to the apartment building. It's locked. This could be a way into the apartment building the smoking man vanished into.
Good. We had enough problems with bums and drunks and thieves loitering in the hallway. You have no business here.
You're well versed in the kind of threatening legalese that implies criminal liability, but in fact has no meaning whatsoever. Obviously, look at that vague yet threatening stuff spewing forth from your mouth.
I know my rights, and don't you marm me, boy.
But the sweeping on the other side has stopped.
Miss, would it help if we offer to show you our badges?
Ah, it's like a carrot to the stick, sort of.
Hold your horses. I don't care about your stinking badge. Just come in. Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. I'm fine. Fine. Don't you worry about me. Now, what do you want from me, policeman?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
I'm no one. Just an old woman who cleans these hallways. If you could call it living. I have a little room upstairs right next to the coal room. It's barely bigger than a closet. But I don't complain, no. I have my bed and my aching bones to keep me company. And that's all I need from this world.
She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while. Even her sentences feel rusty.
Ask away, policeman. The artiste? Nothing I can do about her, I'm afraid. She ruins the walls faster than I can clean them. Still, she leaves an old lady to her business. More than I can say for others.
She mumbles some kind of a response, then hacks something into her handkerchief.
Yes, I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's always smoking like the devil, right?
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tuned to a talk show and someone taking a shower.
What's he in trouble for? Talk?
What was so funny about that?
He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there. He's usually home in the evening.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony. See if he's home.
What happened here? It will still be accessible through the apartment next to it. That one didn't have a door. Sadly, nothing of great value remains here. Indeed.
Yes?
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers, the iconography of communism, in other words. The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mezov and the communards during the revolution. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in equal to symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it. The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world and at the same time above it, because white is the color of peace. Smug superiority, aesthetic musings, the triumph of capital is undeniable, but maybe the guns were sort of cool. Revolutionaries had loads of guns. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says, number 11. It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work of it. Better whip out those cutters. You won't get very far otherwise. No reply. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk drip. What are you doing? You're trying to cut the body of the lock with the chain cutters, and it's really not working.
I believe it's the shackle you need to cut, Detective. Perhaps you should give it another go.
The shackle snaps like a twig, and the lock falls to the floor with a little thud. It should be possible to enter now.
After you, Detective.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. The name on the plinth reads, Kraz Marzov.
The White Star, the photos on the wall. I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting. I suspect that's exactly what they are trying to do. There aren't many communists around, not after the revolution. Some youth still keep the ideology going, it seems.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10. The walking stops abruptly, but no one comes to the door. A poor communard from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open the door if you don't have a warrant.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside that apartment.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any reason. The pockets of these new jeans are perfect for sticking your hand into. Makes you look cool, calm, and collected. As your hand enters the pocket, your fingers brush against something, soft, yet crinkly. Hey, it's a chewing gum wrapper. It reminds you of the fruity juice of apricots. You should inspect it closer if you have time. Something about the wrapper's texture is familiar. By the way, the raw materials were most likely exported from Seaguy, the apricot suzerainty, and processed in sur-le-clay into the apricot-flavored chewing gum loved by kids of today and yesterday. Something about it is familiar, and not only to your fingers.
Ooh, the piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves. But here you are. Yeah, I can see that. Cool mutations.
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint, it's heavy fuel oil. Red-dyed heavy fuel oil is only used in government vehicles, or at least that's the idea.
Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. Does anyone in a city like this? It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all.
The inspiration will come to her once hell is set loose on the streets. It's too calm right now.
Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it? What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself. Back in Jamrock. Something to think about next time you're driving around in your pretty little piggy carriage.
Crinkled chewing gum wrapper. The worn label reads, Tutti Frutti. It smells faintly of apricots with a barely noticeable twinge of cinnamon. You feel compelled to point out that there's nothing fruity about cinnamon. It's a spice derived from tree bark. Can a used wrapper shrug? Seems like that's what the wrapper is doing somehow. This is not about flowers or bark. What is this about? Why are you looking at this wrapper? Good question. There is no answer or secret phrase written on the inside of the wrapper, yet you're drawn to it. Drawn by regret. Stop before you hurt yourself with a Tutti Frutti wrapper. Throw it away, please. You carefully fold the wrapper into a square before putting it back into your pocket, lovingly even, despite the strange feeling of regret. This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
This door is made of number 20.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening. We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good? The smoker on the balcony. This is why we're here, right? He might know something about the murder. So tomorrow 9 p.m.?
Don't worry. It's mostly all still here. You can remember things. You got this.
Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28. Good, let's go.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment building. Don't worry. You'll get him. Remember, tomorrow, he's probably gone for today.
Give me a moment.
Yes? Yes? What about me? Good.
No response. He's having trouble A moment passes.
What do you want to know? You mean like a brief? There's no 3 days ago, during that time. Okay then. Good.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the sea interrupts the silence of the situation. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal, some other way. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning. The antlers on the hood of the man's cloak and his piercing blue eyes are familiar. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
It's the man from Hjelmdal.
Walking away from his burning village, yes. The man from Hjelmdal is the hero of a series of popular books based on a fictional version of Kotla, mostly what is nowadays Arda NFD. In fact, most people don't think that man from Hjelmdal ever really existed, but they are wrong.
Hjelmdal isn't a real place.
Neither is the man a real man, of course. But both the man and Hjelmdal are an ontological necessity. But hey, it's not worth getting into an argument about.
Wow, what?
I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
It's for the best, because Hjelmdal is not a real place, and thus he could not have gone there. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting.
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I deal in goods, not services. Welcome to Hjelmdal, officer.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
I used to be very serious about my Franco-Nigerian knights.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
This is what the loyalists looked like, yes, at first. Then they wised up and got camouflage.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain price. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that, or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres, even though I don't really like music.
That's odd. Why doesn't he like music?
The stuff I record myself, silverware shaking in drawers as motor cars race by, nocturnal animals climbing on the roof, airship rotors, that kind of thing.
Maybe you should ditch music as well. Get into these more experimental sounds he's describing. A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to know that he has nothing to hide.
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you? I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what? Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
I try to keep the shop at a comfortable temperature. Parolidon is just something since the People's Power disaster, I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. Had to take it for radiation sickness.
He's taking it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized. Tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud. Years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment, and early death. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's. Everyone's. A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance. Construction began during the commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of energy for Revachol West. Needless to say, things didn't work out. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile. An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contributed to the catastrophe.
The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forberg as I can. Still in the same city, but I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump a mesk banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course, I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being separated from his radiant spinners.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Oh, no. I don't like those kinds of objects. No sale. A photic path, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's darkness. That's all I know. Sell me something lighter.
You have absolutely no idea what aphotic paths are, but the tattoos on the man are not that.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert. You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off-the-charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the Citizens Militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? You're right that she could cast aspersions on the Force. We have to find her.
My apologies, officer. but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything.
He's been by the shop a couple of times.
There was something awfully deliberate about that laziness.
He purchased a remarkably garish paperweight the first time he was here. Nothing the second. He tried, wanted to come to some mutually beneficial agreement around my dealings with the dock workers. I politely declined to hear him out.
So you don't know what kind of arrangements he was talking about?
As I said, I refused to talk to him. That's why he came back a second time. That's also why he hasn't come back a third. They weren't the most pleasant interactions. Small-town bigwigs always want everyone to play a part in the play they're staging. But I bowed out at some point. I prefer to watch from afar while the bigwigs come and go. It was all very strange. That forewoman was more pleasant than Evrard. But I guess it's all the same in the end.
He nods reluctantly. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want to get involved. He won't be your knock, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
If you say so. Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon. Straight into your gut.
Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man.
Why does art inspire you so much? Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and performative creativity. It's an expression of imagination and technical skill. Additionally, it's history, criticism, and pure enjoyment. In short, art is the highest form of human communication, representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined. Have you looked in the mirror lately? You have the exact features of a savage art critic, with that beard and those clothes, disheveled and prophetic. Perhaps you should try to critique architecture too. Yes, you seek substance. No vapid representations and reproductions of social mores as made manifest in stuffy biennials. We're talking real, living art here. Become the art cop. Quit being so indecisive. What are you going for here? Some kind of indecisive and camp aesthetic now? Strike a bold shape here. Go art or go home. Exactly. It's not only your duty to only catch the criminals off the street, you must also apprehend criminals of the printing press and the gallery, the trite and derivative artists and writers of the world. Go ahead and provide savage criticisms, art cop. The world is yours to rip to pieces and reassemble. A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter, soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines mar the bright countenance of the blonde boy depicted. The sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock, keeping it open, and thus out of order. Whatever it is, the boy on the billboard seems very happy about it. Goat milk butter. The Samaran terrain makes it easier to raise goats than cows, and the local goat farmers produce high-quality meat and dairy staples that add variety to other nations' diets. It's an acquired taste. Judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. These look like the same tire tracks I saw earlier, in front of the whirling rags. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour. The panel served as a takeoff ramp. The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then it continued its flight, taking the billboard with it. The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The Samaran butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently, within the past 72 hours. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linear G22. It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers. Very sturdy but light motor carriage, more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linear G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your analysis. Magnesium-based life form. We tell them, hell no. You're about to become a magnesium-based life form. The age of the primitive carbon man is done. No longer must mankind rely on slow-working background radiation to take us further into our genetic destiny. This is the era of guided evolution, and magnesium is the key. You are the first of your species, the next step in human evolution. An advanced magnesium proto-man who mags it up, drinks it down, and sniffs it sideways.
Yes?
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
You should pick that fat, juicy cigarette butt from the tray, light it up, and smoke the living shit out of it. This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should discuss our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM? I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will, and unhealthy.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit. Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit below it all.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. We performed a thorough initial inspection of the victim's body, so that's good. One could say it's the main thing to do in a murder. Then you shot the body down, which was quite the shot. On this occasion, I must agree. At any rate, your shot enabled us to perform a field autopsy on the victim. We found some things we can really work with. I still feel like we're missing something, but we performed a thorough search of the premises of the crime scene. That's great. Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean. I'm glad we can agree on that, at least. We weren't able to find the union leader, Everard Clare, much less interview him, so that's on the to-do list for tomorrow. We talked to Joyce Messier, but didn't get any information from her. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to get her to talk to us.
If Kim is emphasizing something this much, it really must be important.
Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice?
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age, and in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green, goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol citizens militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. Yes, the last time was 4 years ago.
He has internalized it well. It's just that, a fact. A self-contained past event.
You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. It's probably more honest, yes. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
Or if they think you do.
The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Those others say they continue the humanist project set forth by Dolores Day.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen. Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something kind and usual. Something almost self-explanatory. Something even a little feminine, but in a strict manner. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky above.
Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Sadly, it is what we already are to the people of Martinez, most of them at least, especially the Union. Vigilantes. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. An aerostatic passes overhead, the whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below. Kitsuragi's glasses light up as he looks to the sky. Two glowing circles.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. It's like I told you, this place is an orphan, fallen between the cracks. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too, but I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes make him look younger, not older.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they solve shit. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop, Dick Mullen, Salam Rocky Bai, badass on-the-edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera. Lights. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world. It's on. This fan has two chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. man is decomposing visibly now. Every hour, he looks less like a creature and more like a pile of intestines. The body is reluctant to let go of the boots, as though it were its last bit of dignity.
Whoa! Kuno's little sneak pig's back for the booty.
Yeah, fuck it to pieces for us, liar cop.
It's not completely useless. You're able to reveal a little more of the putrid polymer sock beneath the boot. It feels like the leg is going to come off along with the boot, but you're able to get the boot to move a centimeter or two. Just relax. This is easy. This is happening. This is the right method. It takes some time, but eventually the boots come off, with nasty slices of polymer sock stuck to even bigger pieces of skin and rotting flesh.
Look, he's skinning the fucker up good, Pulko style.
Hell, keep at it, pig.
The legs look like they've been clawed at by wild animals. As for the boots, you can't possibly do anything with them until you've cleaned and disinfected them thoroughly. Yes, these absolutely need to be washed before. The stink is incredible. Didn't the Whirling have a kitchen? The fish lips stay silent in response. These boots were probably left on the corpse because they were impossible to pull off while it was hanging. They're not exactly pleasant to look at right now, much less smell. Hopefully soon you'll know more about them. You've seen too much to be that naive. Even if you don't remember it, you'll never know what it was like to be him. The size seems about right, once you get the foul-smelling flesh gunk out.
Descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
tracks are as they have ever been. A bit more worn, perhaps. Fortunately, the street sweeper still hasn't noticed their presence. Why, yes it is. Good connection. Maybe. Probably.
Fuck does Kuno care? The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kingdom. Kuno doesn't fuck.
Before I squeal, pig. I come from the woods, good Davidu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatizing here. Get the fuck out of here.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. What are you, a cook now? That's none of your business. He wasn't pan-fried. He was lynched. What could the kitchen possibly have to do with... Fine, okay. The kitchen is closed until 1 p.m. because the cook is working. You can snoop around after that, if you must. Yes?
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. Forget about ostentatious orchestrations. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit, somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression. Looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic. You have some understanding of the near history of disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic memory, however, remains in the dark. It may never return. You should prepare yourself for that. Not really. OO must have just stirred your mind. They're more like a disco rock band anyway. The click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume le Million's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head. Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix, because unlike Guillaume le Million, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Smells of alcohol and sweat and grease. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. A bit tense in the muscles. Relax. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question. You're not kidding anyone, Harry. You don't remember shit. Tell me, do you remember your wife's hand on your face. You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? Oh no, funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Isolas. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding? You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too, so soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork, barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. That's not really true. Your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like you're young again and ready to detect, ready to go to war against the world. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks, maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired. Fast recovery, man. Quick turnaround. Super detective back in action.